Hi, I'm Mikey Dredd. Welcome to Bowling Science, powered by Bowlifi. Today, we're getting to the bottom of a hot debate. Urethane versus short pin layouts. To get everything sorted, I'm going to start by warming up. Let's throw my short pin squash to start. This ball is laid out 90 by 1 3/4 by 45. And this allows us to achieve a straighter, more urethane-like motion with modern reactive balls and taking advantage of all of their technological advancements. We're here on a high-friction house pattern where I would use these types of equipment. But why would I want to use this instead of just using a weaker shelled bowling ball like urethane? To find out the answer to that, let's go ahead and take a look at how both reactions look on the fresh pattern, starting with the squashed hybrid. My short pin look allows me to keep my feet near the center of the lane and allows me to play about 12 to 8 from the arrows to the break point. This is a house shot, so I do have friction to the right and more oil to the left, creating a little bit of hold. Not a ton of hook, but a lot of hit. Let's check out my urethane ball in comparison to see what all the fuss is about. Here's one caveat of urethane I don't have to deal with reactive, is that the first ball always hooks more. You have to actually get oil tracks on the ball to settle it down and find your eventual reaction. My choice for urethane is the Black Widow urethane. It is a higher flaring, asymmetrical urethane ball. It and the squash hybrid both have undrilled diffs over 50 and will make a good comparison against each other. My Black Widow urethane is drilled with a strong baseline layout for me, which comes out to about 60 by 3.5 by 35. It allows me to control the tendency of my bowling balls to overhook on a drier house pattern, just like the short pin ball did. Let's take a look at a comparison of both of them side by side now. Even though usually a squash hybrid would hook a couple arrows more than a urethane ball, I'm only 2 to 3 boards further left with my feet between the two balls. This is due to the low flaring layout that is put on the reactive ball. As you can see, I'm able to accomplish the same overall path using both options on this fresh house pattern. But how do they go through the pins? Wow, quite a bit more deflection from the urethane ball than from the Dynamicore enhanced reactive resin short pin ball. Watch as the short pin ball drives left and the urethane ball deflects. Now, let's throw urethane for 2 games on 1 lane and see what this does to the oil pattern. This is where we're going to discover the main drawback of urethane. See, unlike reactive resin, urethane balls do not absorb oil, and the oil fills the pores at the surface of the bowling ball, which even in a high-flaring urethane ball like the Black Widow urethane causes much more carry down than you would see out of a reactive resin ball. I wasn't the most accurate I've ever been, and I shot my spares with urethane too. This kind of shows what would happen in a typical league night if you were on 1 pair of lanes with urethane all night. Now, let's go back to that short pin ball and see what happened. The first shot just skates through the break point where it would read from before. I start to move my feet right to adjust for it and throw many shots, trying to find my new place on this lane. Even when I do get further right, I'm able to strike sometimes, but the ball is extremely sensitive to speed off the back of the pattern and sometimes just doesn't finish even when I stand in the same place and get the ball further right early. What once was a high-scoring house shot, which I easily shot 230 on in warm-ups, is becoming very tricky. I had great looks with both balls on the fresh oil, but since I threw urethane for multiple games, that has changed. This is the main drawback to using urethane, and why it's only in my tournament bag, now that I have some short pin options. Even with a little extra hand in this shot, I'm lucky to come out with a 5-7. So what about those tournament patterns? On the right lane, we have the 36-foot Johnny Petraglia pattern. Let's see how these 2 balls roll on that fresh pattern. Because of how short this pattern is, I play both balls with a break point of about 5 or out. Let's see that short pin squash hybrid on that short pattern. What I like about the look I get from this ball on such a short pattern is how much further past the break point the ball is able to extend before making its left turn into the pocket. This allows the pattern to play a little bit longer for me. This type of short pin layout reaction on a reactive ball is absolutely perfect for short sport patterns. So why does everybody throw urethane? Well, let's find out. Here's my Black Widow urethane on that same pattern. Its smoothness is accentuated in comparison to the reactive ball on the sport pattern, but it does actually start to lay down and roll sooner and have a more gradual play into the pocket. The urethane does allow me to control the friction of the back ends, but at what cost? I'm not saying I never use urethane, but I'm here to be realistic about the pros and cons of each choice. Let's see both of them on top of each other and compare what we really get out of each ball on this pattern. As you'll see, I am again 2 to 3 boards left with my feet using my short pin reactive ball in comparison with the Black Widow urethane. Regardless, I'm able to play the same breakpoint in a very similar part of the lane from the arrows to the breakpoint. The reactive option gives me a little bit more length with more back end recovery, which turns into more pins for me on this shorter sport pattern. I'd like to thank everyone for their time, and I'm curious what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about urethane. We're still on our race to 1,000 subscribers, and every like and comment will get you another entry for our free jersey giveaway thanks to Bowlifi. If you'd like to check out their high quality jerseys, or get some for your team before the upcoming nationals, check out the link in my description and use code BowlingScience to save some money. I want to thank Pinboys for being the home of bowling science. It's my favorite place to throw strikes.